about 2.5 hours, and a number of his close friends and fellow athletes spoke, sharing memories of Kobe and Gianna. But one unusual thing about the service was that, except for a brief mention by Shaq, Kobe's parents didn't receive much acknowledgement. I want to ask you guys, what did you think about that?
I thought it was sad, a little bit disconcerting. I think that those feuds have to end in death, and I think it speaks to money and what it can do to a family if things aren't handled well.
Say it. I echo that. Let me add that them not being a part of that ceremony on any level, grand level, outside of Shaquille O'Neal mentioning it, when Shaquille O'Neal also was seen hugging Joe Bryant before the ceremony, without any other mention of them, is not by coincidence. It's all intentional. Unfortunately, lost my mother and a few other family members and had to be a part of the committee that is preparing the goodbye and the funeral. Every single element is taken care of in line items and assigned. So for that to be the situation, only two things come to mind. Either one, Vanessa or whoever was a part of that committee, their purpose was to live out what Kobe was feeling at the time of his death. Can't blame her then. Or this is a situation where it was trying to repair itself and it needed to be fully repaired in death because we're walking around all dying. And I think that the hard reset needs to be that you're gone. The building blocks of who Kobe was, I don't care who your wife is, who your kids are, is mama and daddy. And no matter what distance you guys are at, don't forget how all of this was able to grow from that base.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we can back up a little bit just because of what's happened and transpired between his mother, father, and Kobe, and what happened and the disconnect. I was at the game when he scored. It's the last game of 60 points. After the game, he acknowledged the crowd, acknowledged everybody. Parents weren't there. Did not acknowledge, okay? His jersey retirement, it was the same situation. It was Vanessa's, family, his kids, but not his family. So this is not something that hasn't been done or seen. If you track it back, and the unfortunate situation is we don't know the ins and outs of why they couldn't reconcile, but through death, there's a certain closure, but then there's a certain pit that's still open because you weren't able to reconcile whatever those issues were during the time when somebody was alive. So I was there yesterday and I saw his parents there and I was kind of surprised actually because of what has transpired in the past.
What I appreciated about the entire ceremony was that it was real and it was authentic. And everyone who spoke had a specific connection to Gianna and Kobe. And the truth is that his parents made him choose between them and Vanessa. And he made that choice. And he built a life around that choice. LeBron James didn't speak. Phil Jackson didn't speak. Gino Auriemma spoke. Now, there are certain things about those relationships that aren't necessarily what are as advertised now. Not as genuine, maybe, as they are portrayed. So that's what I appreciated, that he and Vanessa stuck to their guns. This is the way it was when he went. We're not going to change it in hindsight just for appearance's sake.
Yeah, I wouldn't, and agree with what you're saying, I wouldn't have maybe had them speak, but I just think in pictures, you're using the big screen, that part of Kobe's life from age 0 to age 18, his dad was a big part of that, and I'm sure there was a way to recognize through photos of that his dad was part of that
But who chose the photos?
Yes.
Who put that you know what I mean? And that is the part that Rick is talking about in regards to, I think, where they wanted the family, and I hate to try to speak for them, but it was viewed as that's what it was. It's always been this way for the last, 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
The family hasn't really been a part of it since he had to make that choice if that was given to him. So we're going to keep it status quo in that regard because all the stuff was there that was being shown wasn't that family.
Right.
It was the other family.
And honestly, it wasn't even Kobe's Laker family. If you look at all of the photos in the 24-page booklet that they gave out to everybody who went to the memorial, it's all pictures of either Kobe in a Lakers uniform, or Kobe with Vanessa or his daughters. Some combination of that. You don't see anybody else featured in those photos, and the photos that they were showing up on the screen during the memorial was only them. It didn't expand to a larger universe than that.
And look, I'm not getting into a taste conversation about how they should have had his memorial, but a matter of fact conversation. Like, there were stages and phases of Kobe's development and growth that I think you're supposed to celebrate all of it. You just don't wait till the parade. Who was there building the floats? Mama, daddy, before everybody jumped on the Kobe parade. So my thing is, I've noticed this in weddings, and we don't talk enough about it in funerals. Weddings have a honeymoon. Funerals have a fantasy phase where we recreate reality. And I've been there before when I've seen somebody in the casket. I'm like, that ain't him. Who y'all eulogizing ain't him.
Right.
Why y'all, it's glowing. And look, all I'm saying, if you're gonna be authentic, that goes from beginning to end, because we're celebrating the ending, which makes us think about the beginning and all of his life. Why didn't we go so far distant? That hurt.
I agree. Coming up, if they embrace the right attitude. Brady understands the power of the human mind. He knows the dangers of embracing a mindset of victimhood and a belief that negative forces will stop you from achieving your goals. A Mamba mentality recognizes race but doesn't believe race explains the world. Kobe Bryant was far from perfect, but his approach to life may have been. Kobe might be our most inspirational athlete since Muhammad Ali. Damn, I get emotional just reading Brady's letter, but Marcellus, get us rolling.
Yeah.
Is Kobe the most inspirational athlete since Muhammad Ali?
I would go with a different word. For me, he's the most committed athlete I've ever seen. Not inspirational for me, because I define inspirational as something that's profound, that lights a fire in you personally. And what Kobe represented to me wasn't so profound. It actually was the opposite. It was simplistic in its nature. One thing I respect for him, for his legacy and for his athletic ability, was he didn't suffer from the curse of the gifted. And usually the curse of the gifted skips fundamentals on their climb of success by using only athletic ability as their jet fuel. Not Kobe. Kobe is the guy that actually exemplified what we all saw when we first walked into a high school locker room. All those mantras and discipline, desire, determination. He was a walking display of those mantras. So Mamba mentality is really mantra mentality, because when he came to the NBA, he was a living example of all those tried truths. And that's why they exist over the years, the values. Why are they so valuable? Because you cannot go against them and have ultimate success. And Kobe applied that. So it's just interesting when I think about Kobe, I think about a guy who really just used the simple elements of success, but embodied them fully.
Yeah. That's a long time between Muhammad Ali and today, which is why I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. I think he's one of the most inspirational. But I think about Magic Johnson. I think about when he contracted HIV, and the profound effect that he had in going on with his life, continuing to play, continuing to be a beacon for the world at a time when that was a death sentence. We didn't know anything about it, but it was this foreign homosexual disease, and here was Magic Johnson, who was out front with it. And I think that was inspiring to people in untold ways across the globe. And we didn't have social media then, and we didn't have the end of Magic Johnson. Whereas with Kobe, we have this sudden full stop, unexpected. And we have the ability of a Tom Brady to speak his mind on his platform when he feels it and to spread that to the world. And so for that reason, do I think Kobe is there? Yes, but I don't want to ignore the impact of someone like Magic Johnson at his time.
And I'll agree with you on that from that perspective, because there's been many inspirational players that have come through. But I think what guides us towards Kobe is because we really begin to start to know him later in his years. Excuse me. We knew his mentality when he played as a young man coming in 1996, drafted by the Lakers, wanted to be the best. But we never were able to dig into who he was personality-wise. We got bits and pieces of it. We heard about the stories, but we didn't know. In today's world of social media, you know everybody. You know about Steph, you know about KD, you know about Bron, because it's out there. With Kobe, it was still this air of mystery around him outside of the game of basketball. We knew he loved basketball, but what did he love outside of that? We got a glimpse of that. And I think the young people, too, in regards to the ones that are playing basketball, football, baseball now that kind of grew up in Kobe's era, Kobe was there to bridge the gap between Michael Jordan's back end and LeBron coming in. And sprinkled in between there, he was in there with Shaq and